All Things Gumball. Today I want to talk to you guys and you ladies a little bit about how to make your route bigger. You know, when I first started this vending business, I started with one machine, and over time I gradually worked my way up to 100 locations, or I should say 100 machines. And the reason I say it like that is because in each location I try to put 2 machines at least, if I can, if there's room. Sometimes the spaces where I put the machines are so small, one machine is probably gonna be it. And if you try to cram in too many machines, you may irritate the people that have the business, and they may say they don't want you there. You're, you know, rocking the boat, or you're just stepping on too many toes. So don't be too greedy to put 2 machines into a location if you feel like the space is really small. Okay, so what I first did was, when I first started, I put 1 machine out, bought a few more, put those out, bought a few more, put those out. Over a period of time, I'd say probably about 2 or 3 years, I worked my way up to about 100 locations, and I found those locations all by myself. I never hired a locator. I never hired a locator. Even till today, I haven't hired a locator. It's too easy to find locations. Go to Kinko's or FedEx office and create some kind of a flyer, and then just create 1 or 2. You don't need too many. You don't need 1,000 flyers. And I'll tell you this, when you make flyers and you hand out flyers, let's say you go knocking on doors, if people ask you for flyers, really what they're saying is, hey, get out of my face, don't bother me. I'll take a flyer just to shut you up and get you out the door, get you to leave me alone. Okay, so I made, you know, when I first started, I spent about $400, I think it was, and I made quite a bit of flyers. I think they were about 20 cents a piece, 30 cents a piece. And I made quite a few flyers, and I handed out all of the flyers except for just a small stack, which I still have in my storage unit somewhere in a box. And out of all those perhaps 1,000 flyers that I passed out, there's a helicopter flying overhead. You know, concerning all those 1,000 flyers that I passed out, roughly 1,000, I got 1 phone call. 1,000 flyers. I spent $400 to make some really nice flyers, and I got 1 phone call out of all of those flyers that I passed out. So really, flyers to me, I don't think are worth the investment. But create a flyer and then laminate it. And the reason you want to laminate it is because if you bring a flyer with you when you're showing your product, and I always tell people, show the people that you're talking to what the machine looks like. Because when you say vending machine, a lot of people think snack machines and Coke machines. They don't think about the little gumball machines. For some reason, it just kind of goes over their head. When you walk in the door, show them a picture of your little gumball machine, and tell them the charity that you're working with. If the flyer is laminated, they are not going to they're not going to take that from you. They may take it from you, but they're going to hand it back to you. If the flyer is not laminated, they're going to think that this is a copy that they can keep for themselves, and you will have a hard time getting it back. And when you ask for it back, they just look at you like, oh, what are you, cheap? You can't let me have a flyer? So if you laminate it, they know that that's not theirs. As I said, I don't have any flyers. I don't pass out flyers. I don't pass out business cards. When I walk into a business and I ask them if I can put a machine in their location, there's 2 answers, yes and no. Every other answer is going to be a no if they don't say yes. In other words, if they say maybe, or if they say, well, I like the idea, let me talk to my spouse or my boss or whatever, it's still a no. They may get so excited, and you may think that you've closed the deal. But until they say yes, bring it in right here, stick it right here, that means no. So no matter how many cards, no matter how many flyers, business cards you have, and you hand them, that will not, in my opinion, from what I've experienced, it will not do any difference. You're not going to get them to say yes just because you handed them a flyer. So laminate the flyer that you have and just let them see it, let them hold it, put your phone number on it because they may want to take a photo of it. And as I said, I don't have flyers. If someone asks me for a flyer, I just tell them I've got some. They're in my other car in the back seat, and my daughter is borrowing that car, and I forgot to get those out. You know, I just make up something. I don't, you know, I make it sound like I have flyers. I just didn't bring them today, okay? Now, a lot of people ask me in the comments in my videos about routes. If you buy a route, how do you determine the value of the route? You really can't, because people can, you know, people can type up or print up fake documentation saying how much money these machines make. I mean, if you were trying to sell a route, wouldn't you kind of falsify your numbers just to get that sale? Okay, so here's how I do it. The machines are worth, let's say on average, $100. The candy itself is probably worth $30 or $40 that's inside the machine. You might have $10, $20, $30 worth of quarters inside, and then the location itself, if you had to pay someone to find the location, let's say $50, okay? So candy, quarters, let's say 50 bucks. The location fee, the locator fee is 50 bucks per machine, and then the machine is $100. So if you buy a route and it has one machine on location working and it's got candy inside, I would pay $200 for that one machine on location. Another really good benefit of buying locations that are already working, that already have vending machines, is you can put your own machine into that place. In other words, a second machine. You can put you know, a second machine into that one. When you buy a route, and as I said, you don't want to pay, you know, on average, you want to pay about $200 per machine if it is working. Now, when you come to service the machine, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, oh, this isn't the same guy that used to be here. Don't tell them you're the new owner, okay? Don't tell them that. Because what they'll do, sometimes, and not all the time, sometimes they'll just say, oh, why don't you take the machine out of here? Okay, so don't tell them you're the new guy. Don't tell them you bought the route, you're taking over, you're going to bring changes and blah, blah, blah. People don't really want changes, okay? People don't like changes, okay? Don't rock the boat, and you're going to want to fly under the radar, and you're just going to want to go in there quietly, fill up the machine, and leave. Now, if they ask you, who are you? Just say, well, I'm working with John. John's the one that sold the route to you. Don't tell them that John sold the route. They may say, oh, yeah, I heard John was selling. Yeah, well, then be honest and say, yeah, I'm the new guy. I'm the one who bought the route. But if they don't say anything about selling or buying or whatever, don't bring it up. Because if you bring up that you're the new guy, they may say, which has happened to me, oh, well, why don't you get the machine out of here? We don't want it. Or something to that effect. So just say, well, I'm working with John. His route is getting so big that he hired me. I'm the new employee. And you'll be seeing me from now on. Eventually, over time, they'll come to realize that they're not going to see John anymore, the guy that sold you the route, and they'll be seeing you. And that's one way to keep from losing locations. When you are in the location, look around and see if there's a second or third place you can put another machine. Is it a car dealership? If you have a machine in a car dealership, look around at the parts department. Maybe there's room for one more in there, and bring one in, stick one in there. And if they ask you what's going on, just say, oh, well, I have one in the lobby. I didn't think it would be a problem if I stuck one in the parts department. Now, they may say something to you like, well, no, we don't really want it in here. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully you won't rock the boat too much to get kicked out of the lobby, okay? But a lot of times they'll be happy to have the machine there, okay? So when you're buying a route, how do you know the value of the route? You really don't. You're going to have to take it on faith, what they tell you. And more than likely, they're going to tell you a number that's higher than, you know, they're going to tell you an amount that the machines make. Probably they're going to say more than the machines make, okay? So if the machines make $10 a month on average for the whole route, they're going to tell you it makes $15 on average for the whole route, per machine on average, okay? So again, how do you determine? Well, you don't determine. What you determine the value is the machine. Like I said, you can get the machines on Craigslist or Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, for roughly $100. So let's say the machines are worth $100. The locator fee is $50. That brings it up to $150. And the candy and the quarters are probably going to be about $30, $40, $50 inside. Okay, altogether, candy and quarters. So to be honest, when I buy a route, I don't buy a route that has machines that are priced over $200 a piece. Okay, there's people out there that are going to try to sell you routes $500 per machine on location. I wouldn't pay for it. Okay, like I said, you can find a machine for $100. You can find a locator for $50. Why would you want to pay $500 for what you can pay $150 for? Okay, I hope that helps you guys with your vending. Have a good evening, have a good morning, or have a good afternoon.